No one is coming to save you, not your parents, not your friends, not the system, not luck, not someday. And here's the part most people miss. That's not bad news. That's the most empowering truth you'll ever hear. Because the moment you stop waiting for rescue, you start building strength. Life will knock you down, that's guaranteed. You'll fail, you'll be betrayed, you'll lose, you'll doubt yourself. You'll hit moments where you're flat on your back staring at the ceiling thinking, how did I get here? And in those moments you'll hope someone notices, you'll wish someone reaches down, but reality doesn't work like that. The world doesn't reward potential, it doesn't care about intentions, it responds to action. And when you're falling, the world doesn't pause, it keeps moving. So here's the choice: stay down and wait, or get up bruised, angry, scared, and move anyway. Pain is not your enemy, pain is feedback. It's telling you something needs to change: your habits, your standards, your mindset, your discipline. But most people hear pain and say, why me? The few who win ask, what's this teaching me? And let's be clear, getting up doesn't mean you suddenly feel confident. It doesn't mean you're ready. It doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you move despite fear. Discipline is doing the work on the days you don't feel like it. Discipline is showing up when no one is watching. Discipline is choosing long-term respect over short-term comfort. You don't rise because life gets easier. You rise because you get stronger. And strength is built one brutal decision at a time. One rep when you want to quit, one honest conversation. When it's uncomfortable, one step forward. When everything in you wants to stop. This is how identity is forged. You don't become strong, then act strong. You act strong until you become strong. So if you're falling right now, good, that means gravity hasn't beaten you yet. Plant your hands, get your footing, and stand up. Not because someone told you to, not because someone helped you, but because you decided your story doesn't end on the ground. No one will come to save someone who is falling, so get up, no one is coming. That idea alone makes most people uncomfortable, because deep down we're conditioned to believe that eventually someone will step in. A mentor, a breakthrough, an opportunity, a lucky break, and fix what feels broken. But the truth is harsher and far more empowering at the same time. The moment you accept that your life is entirely your responsibility, you stop giving your power away. Blame feels good in the short term. It gives you an excuse, a cushion, a story that protects your ego. But every time you blame circumstances, people, timing, or luck, you hand over control of your future to something you can't influence. Radical responsibility is the decision to take that control back. When you stop waiting for rescue, your mindset shifts. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? You ask, what am I going to do about it? That question alone changes everything. It forces you to look at your habits, your choices, your patterns, and your standards. It exposes the uncomfortable truth that results are not random. They are built, slowly, daily, often invisibly, by what you do when no one is watching. Accepting responsibility doesn't mean life is fair. It means that fairness is irrelevant. What matters is what you do next. Radical responsibility is not about guilt or self-punishment. It's about ownership. Ownership creates clarity. Clarity creates action. Action creates momentum. Once you fully accept that no one is coming to save you, you stop wasting energy hoping for motivation to magically appear. You build systems, you build discipline, you start doing the work even when you're tired, even when you're unsure, even when you don't feel ready. You stop negotiating with yourself and start holding yourself to a higher standard. There is freedom in this mindset. When everything is your responsibility, everything is also changeable. You may not control what happened to you, but you control what you do with it. You control how you respond, how you grow, how you adapt, and how you move forward. Power doesn't come from comfort. It comes from commitment to take ownership even when it's inconvenient, even when it's painful, even when the results are slow. Radical responsibility is choosing to stand in that discomfort and act anyway, knowing that every small decision compounds into the person you are becoming, and every excuse you release removes another chain. that was quietly holding you in place. Pain is unavoidable. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying or selling something. If you're trying to grow, pain will show up every time you push past who you used to be. The problem isn't pain itself. The problem is how most people interpret it. They treat pain like a warning to stop, to slow down, to retreat back to comfort, but pain is not a stop sign. It's a signal. It's information telling you that something is changing, stretching, or demanding your attention. When you fall, fail, or struggle, pain shows you exactly where the work is. It exposes weaknesses you didn't want to admit and gaps you hoped didn't exist. That's uncomfortable, so most people numb it, distract themselves, or pretend it means they're not meant for more. They confuse discomfort with danger, but growth doesn't come wrapped in reassurance. It comes wrapped in resistance. Every meaningful upgrade in your life will demand that you sit with discomfort longer than feels reasonable. Pain is not proof that you're losing. Often, it's proof that you're actually in the game. The difference between people who rise and people who stay stuck is not talent or luck, it's interpretation. One group feels pain and quits. The other feels pain and gets curious. They ask what needs to be learned, adjusted, or strengthened. They use pain as feedback instead of letting it become a verdict on their ability or worth. Avoiding pain doesn't protect you, it traps you. The pain of discipline, effort, and honesty is temporary. The pain of regret, stagnation, and unrealized potential compounds quietly over time. One hurts now and builds strength. The other feels comfortable now and costs you later. When you start seeing pain as part of the process instead of a sign you're broken, your relationship with challenge changes. You stop running from hard moments and start leaning into them. Progress demands tolerance for discomfort. It demands that you keep moving forward even when your confidence is shaken, even when results are slow, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Pain becomes something you expect, something you respect, something you learn from, not something that defines you or defeats you. When you understand that pain is simply a signal that you're pushing the edges of who you are, you stop asking for an easier path and start building the strength to walk the hard one. Motivation is unreliable. It feels powerful in the moment, but it's emotional, temporary, and tied to how you feel right now. Some days you wake up energized, focused, ready to take on anything. Other days you wake up heavy, distracted, uncertain, and tired. If your progress depends on motivation, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline is what carries you on the days motivation disappears. Discipline is the decision to act without negotiating with your feelings. Most people wait to feel ready before they move. They wait for confidence, clarity, or inspiration to show up. But readiness is a lie. Your comfort zone tells you to keep you where you are. Discipline works in the opposite direction. It says you move first and the feelings catch up later. You don't train because you're motivated. You become motivated because you train. Action creates belief, not the other way around. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't look impressive. It doesn't announce itself. It's built in routines that feel boring and repetitive. It's showing up when no one is watching and doing the work that won't pay off today, tomorrow, or even next week. That's why most people avoid it. They want progress without process. They want results without standards. Discipline demands that you commit even when the reward is delayed. When discipline becomes your foundation, external circumstances lose their power over you. Stress, doubt, fatigue, and fear don't disappear, but they stop controlling your behavior. You stop asking yourself whether you feel like doing the work and start asking whether it needs to be done. That shift alone separates people who stay stuck from people who build momentum. Discipline removes decision fatigue. The rules are already set. You execute because that's who you've decided to be. This is where identity is shaped. Every disciplined action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every skipped commitment reinforces the opposite. Over time, those votes compound. Discipline builds trust with yourself, and Trust is the backbone of confidence. You stop relying on external validation or emotional highs. You know you'll show up because you always do. That consistency creates stability, and stability creates progress even when life is chaotic, even when motivation is gone, even when the path feels repetitive and slow. Your circumstances do not define you, but the identity you choose will decide how you move through them. Most people let their situation tell them who they are. They say they'll act confident when things improve, they'll be disciplined when life calms down, they'll believe in themselves when results finally show up. That mindset keeps them trapped because identity doesn't follow circumstances. It's built through action taken in spite of them. Identity is not what you say you are, it's what you do consistently. You don't become strong and then take hard actions. You take hard actions until strength becomes part of who you are. You don't wait to feel courageous before stepping forward. You step forward while afraid, and courage forms in the process. Action is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. When you choose your identity first, your behavior changes. Instead of asking what's easiest, you ask what aligns with the person you're building. A disciplined person trains even when tired. A resilient person keeps going after setbacks. A focused person protects their time and attention. These choices aren't dramatic, but they are powerful. Over time, they rewire how you see yourself. You stop doubting whether you can handle difficulty because you've already proven it to yourself repeatedly. Circumstances will always fluctuate. You will face losses, delays, criticism, and moments where progress feels invisible. If your sense of self depends on external outcomes, you'll rise and fall with them. But when your identity is anchored in action and standards, those external swings lose their grip. You don't crumble when things go wrong because your confidence isn't built on things going right. Identity built through action is durable. It doesn't rely on motivation, approval, or perfect conditions. It's reinforced every time you do what you said you would do, especially when it's uncomfortable. That consistency creates internal alignment. You stop feeling like you're pretending to be strong and start realizing that strength is already there. Not because life became easier, but because you chose to act in alignment with who you decided to be long before the evidence showed up.